Hook. Picture this. You're born into a world that's already trying to kill you. Before you've even taken your first breath, something's eating you alive. You escape barely, only to discover you've got about 3 years of absolute hell ahead. No sunlight, no hope. Just darkness, parasites, and a body that evolution seemingly designed as a sick joke. This is the life of the tripod fish, and trust me, after hearing this story, you'll never complain about a bad day again. Main content. Right, so imagine you're still inside your egg, yeah? You're not even properly born yet, and already you can feel something gnawing at you. It's a parasitic isopod, tiny thing, barely the size of a pinhead, but it's chewing through your tail like you're an all-you-can-eat buffet. You thrash about, desperate to break free, and when you finally rip yourself out of that egg membrane, you leave a chunk of your tail behind. Nice start to life in it? But here's the thing, you glance around and realize you're surrounded by 99,000 siblings. They're all hatching at the same time, and pretty much every single one of them is dealing with the exact same nightmare. Some have got 2 parasites attached. Some are already dead, their tiny bodies completely hollowed out from the inside. Welcome to the world, mate. Now, before you can even process what's happening, a moray eel larva, barely bigger than you are, comes shooting through this cloud of newborns. Its mouth's opening and closing like some tiny underwater guillotine, and in 2 seconds flat, 6 of your brothers and sisters just vanish. Gone. Then it turns toward you. Your instincts kick in immediately. You go completely limp, spread your fins out wide, and let your body go slack. You're not trying to swim away because that's what prey does, and prey gets eaten. No, you're playing dead, except better. You're pretending to be a bit of poisonous jellyfish, something worthless, something not worth bothering with. The eel's eyes sweep right past you. That little trick? It just saved your life. Problem is, you're going to need to use it about 400 more times before you reach adulthood. And most of your siblings? They won't make it past day 3, fast forward 5 days. You've actually figured out hunting, sort of. You've worked out that if you tuck yourself inside these clouds of drifting algae, tiny copepods will swim right past your face and you can snap them up. You've caught 3 today, which basically makes you a genius in fish terms. You're feeling quite pleased with yourself. Then you smell it. Blood in the water. Every instinct in your tiny fish brain starts screaming at you to investigate. You can't help yourself. You follow the scent until you find the source. A dying flying fish, twice your size, struggling near the surface. One of its wing fins is absolutely shredded and it's bleeding out. It's perfect. Of course, you're not the only one who's had this brilliant idea. 50 other larvae are already swarming around it. Baby triggerfish, damselfish, wrasses, all of them tearing off tiny pieces. There's enough food here to last you a week. You dart in and rip off a chunk of flesh. It's the biggest meal of your entire life. Then the water goes dark. A skipjack tuna, 3 feet long, explodes through the feeding frenzy like an absolute missile. Its mouth opens wide enough to swallow 20 of you at once. You snap straight into jellyfish mode, fins wide, body limp, tumbling through the chaos. The tuna's mouth passes just beside you. When the water finally clears, 30 larvae are gone. The flying fish is gone. But you're alive. And you've just learned something absolutely terrible. The best meals are always traps. 6 weeks later, you've grown and survived the larval stage through a combination of that jellyfish trick and pure, dumb luck. You've eaten enough to trigger the next phase of your life. That's when things get properly weird. Your body starts betraying you in the most horrific way possible. It begins with your eyes. They start itching, then burning. Then they begin sinking into your skull like they're melting. You try to see, but everything's getting darker, and it's not because the sun's setting. Your eyes are literally dying whilst you're still using them. You're about to witness just how brutal nature can be. Your fins start next. The bones inside them begin stretching, growing. It feels like someone's pulling your skeleton apart from the inside. You try to swim normally, but your fins are too long now, dragging behind you like broken wings. The pressure in your head becomes unbearable. You're diving deeper and deeper, and you can't stop. Something in your brain is forcing you down. At 500 meters, your eyes finish dying. At 1,000 meters, you're completely blind. At 2,000 meters, your swim bladder starts compressing. You're transforming into something that makes absolutely no biological sense whatsoever. Your fins are now 3 times longer than your body. Your eyes are sealed over, just bumps on your head. You look like evolution had a proper mental breakdown. At 4,000 meters, you hit the bottom. The pressure here is insane. You can feel it pressing on every single part of your body. The water's 3 degrees above freezing. Welcome to hell. You'll be living here for the next 3 years. You keep trying to swim, forgetting that your fins don't work for swimming anymore. They work for standing. You finally figure out the system. You're a tripod now. Your body hovers 1 foot off the mud, perfectly still, facing the current. Then you wait, and wait, and wait. After 4 hours, something tiny drifts past. You can't see it because your eyes are dead, but you feel it through the special nerves in your fins. You angle your fins like satellite dishes, tracking its movement. When it gets close enough, you create a tiny current with your fins, steering it toward your mouth. You snap, you swallow. 1 microscopic amphipod, 90 calories. You just burned 80 calories catching it. Brilliant. You need to catch one of these every 2 hours just to avoid starving. Down here, there's 99% less food than at the surface. Except when something does happen, it usually tries to kill you. 3 months pass. You've survived by standing in the exact same spot for weeks at a time. You've absolutely mastered the art of doing nothing. Then something lands on your back. It's tiny, the size of a grain of sand, but you feel it immediately. A cymatoid isopod. The same kind that tried to eat you when you were still in your egg. Except this one's smarter. It doesn't kill you. It just stays. It digs its hooks into your skin and starts drinking your blood. Not enough to kill you, just enough to keep you weak. And this little monster is going to be your companion for the rest of your life. You try everything. You scrape yourself against the rocks, but they're too smooth. You try swimming upside down to shake it loose and nearly break your fins doing it. You try to reach it with your mouth, but your mouth can't reach your own back. The parasite settles in. It grows. After a month, it's the size of your eye. After 6 months, you can feel its weight shifting on your back when you move. It's not just drinking your blood anymore. It's laying eggs. Baby isopods hatch on your back and crawl across your body, deciding if you're worth staying on. 3 of them decide you are. You've got 4 parasites now. They drink 10% of every meal you catch. You need to catch more food to feed them, but they're making you weaker, so you catch less food. But you don't die. Not yet, you just get slower, weaker, hungrier. 8 months later, you're standing at your spot, 4 parasites on your back, barely alive, when you smell something impossible. Another tripod fish nearby. You release your fins, which takes 8 seconds now because you're so weak, and start walking toward the smell. Your 3 long fins move like crutches, dragging your body across the mud, 5 feet per hour. It takes you 4 hours to travel 20 feet. You find them. Another tripod fish, standing on their 3 fins, facing the current. They're covered in parasites too. 6 of them. They're in worse shape than you are. You stand next to them. For the first time in 8 months, you're not alone. Then you both release your gametes into the water. But here's the twisted part. Your species doesn't do normal reproduction. You were born male. But the stress, the starvation, the parasites, they've been slowly changing your body chemistry. You're becoming female. Except the change isn't complete. You release both sperm and eggs into the water. A confused mess of half-transformed biology. Most of the eggs won't fertilize. Most of the ones that do will hatch into deformed larvae that die within hours. Your partner releases their gametes, then walks away. No bonding, no partnership, just a biological transaction in the dark. You stand there alone again and realize you just wasted 3 weeks of energy on reproduction that probably won't work. 6 months pass. You haven't eaten in 11 days. Your parasites have eaten most of your muscle mass. You can barely keep your fins stiff enough to stand. Then something massive falls from the darkness above. It crashes into the mud 40 feet away. The impact shakes the ground. The smell hits you like a drug. A dead whale. 50 tons of meat. The biggest food source you'll ever encounter in your entire life. You release your fins and start walking. It takes you 9 hours to travel 40 feet. Your fins keep collapsing. You have to stop every 10 minutes to rest. But you keep going because that whale represents 6 months of food. When you finally arrive, the apocalypse has already started. 30 rat-tail fish are tearing off chunks the size of your head. Hagfish are burrowing inside, eating from within. Sleeper sharks are circling, taking bites that remove 10 pounds at a time. The water's thick with blood and oil and flesh. You try to get close, a rat-tail fish rams you away. You try again. A hagfish coils around your fin and tries to pull you into the carcass to eat you alongside the whale. You barely escape. You stand there, 5 feet from more food than exists in a cubic mile of ocean, and watch as every other creature feeds. Your 3-fin design, the thing that keeps you alive by letting you stand and ambush prey, now makes you the weakest animal at the feast. After 3 days, the whale is picked clean. You got 0 bites. You walk back to your original spot, having burned more energy than you gained. You're going to die soon, you can feel it. 2 months later, you're standing at your spot. You haven't eaten in 16 days. Your fins are shaking. The parasites on your back have stopped moving. They're dying too, which means you're not even producing enough blood to keep them alive. Then you smell it again. That same tripod fish from before, the one you tried to reproduce with. They walk up next to you. They're in worse shape than you. 3 of their parasites have died and are rotting on their back. But they're here. You stand together. Not hunting, not reproducing. Just standing. 2 creatures at the end of their lives, too weak to do anything but exist next to each other. For 5 days, you stand together. You catch 1 meal each. You share the space. You're not alone. On day 6, you smell blood. Their blood. A 6-gill shark, 14 feet long, rises from below. It doesn't attack you. You're too small, too worthless. It attacks your partner. Its teeth close around them in 1 clean bite. No struggle. No escape. Just gone. The shark drops their body. It sinks to the mud next to you, torn in half. You can smell your partner's chemistry fading from the water. The shark circles back, checking if you're worth eating. You try to collapse your fins to run, but they won't move. The fluid system's frozen. You're locked in tripod stance, completely helpless. The shark's eye passes 6 inches from your face. It studies you, decides you're not worth the effort, swims away. You're standing next to your partner's corpse, unable to move, unable to run, unable to do anything but stand there and smell them decompose. 3 hours later, your fin system finally releases. You walk away. It takes you 6 hours to move 10 feet. You settle into a new spot, pump your fins stiff, face the current, alone. 1 week later, your heart stops. Not from an attack. Not from starvation. Your body just gives up. Your fins collapse. You sink to the mud. The parasites on your back crawl off your corpse, looking for a new host. Within 2 days, amphipods have eaten your eyes. Within a week, nothing remains but your 3 long fin bones lying in the mud like fallen radio towers. Closing. Let's take stock of what just happened, yeah? This fish survived 99,000 to 1 odds at birth. It figured out the jellyfish trick that saved its life 400 times. It dove 4,000 meters whilst its body transformed into something that looks like a nightmare dreamt up by a committee. It learned to hunt without eyes in a place where virtually nothing lives. It found a partner twice, lost them twice, and learned that loneliness actually has a taste in the water. It stood alone in darkness for 3 years with parasites drinking its blood, waiting with patience that would absolutely break any human mind. And then it died of nothing. No dramatic attack, no final boss battle, just biological collapse. Its body gave up in the dark and nobody noticed. After all that survival, all that adaptation, all that impossible endurance, it was killed by the simple maths of not enough food, too many parasites, and a body design that evolution turned into a living trap. And you know what the maddest part is? Nature's still doing this. Right now, thousands of tripod fish are going through this exact same hell at the bottom of the ocean. They're standing there in the dark, covered in parasites, barely surviving, and they'll never know anything else. If you found this story as brutal and fascinating as I did, smash that like button. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the absolute madness of nature. And if you think you've had a rough day, just remember, at least you're not a tripod fish. Now, if you thought that was bad, there's actually an animal with an even worse life than this. But that's a story for another time. Cheers.